I'm delighted to be able to moderate this short discussion with these three. We have the director, Anne McCabe. Whoop, don't fall.
Thank you, thank you.
The producer, Rachel Cohen. And the Disney legend herself, and my friend, Idina Menzel. So I'd just like to start. This is the world premiere. This is the first time you're seeing it with an audience. How does it feel? What did it feel like? What are you feeling?
It felt better with a big screen and an audience.
Yeah, I love the big screen. That was awesome. And,
Yeah.
and have all you here witnessing is amazing. Thank you.
It's so honest and moving. It's just a remarkable achievement. And I'm wondering, how did the film come to be? How did you get from the beginning, A to Z?
Like I said, I just knew we were going to end up there, and I'd always wanted to be there, play at the Garden. And finally, I saw my touring route, and it was going to end up at MSG. And I was just going about my business, and then I just realized one day, I mean, come on, Idina, this is something you've always wanted. Let's capture it. You know, I didn't know we'll make a film. let's document it properly. And then and then we got out there and realized, I don't know if this is really about Madison Square Garden. This is about Idina running around as a chicken with her head cut off, trying to figure out how to get on stage. So that's the beautiful thing I'm learning about documentaries is you can't really put a concrete idea there. You got to be willing to be flexible and malleable and see where it takes you. So, and then it was a couple ups and downs with funding and things like that. And I really believed in it. And I thought we could have something here, but I had a moment where I couldn't find the right people. And then my agent Bonnie said, you need to meet Rachel Cohen, and these women were like, what the hell are you talking about? We're going to do this. And she really made it happen.
No, Bonnie introduced us. It was May of 2020, right after COVID, and Bonnie and I were just hanging out on the weekend, and she had just gotten off the phone with you, and you were telling her about this footage, and we thought, wow, well, just maybe there might be an audience for that. Immediately we thought that was insane. It was sort of a treasure trove. You mean there's concert footage of Idina and verite footage? So Janet,
I thought I didn't have a drug problem really or anything, and so I thought nobody's really going to care.
Enough.
And just kind of
wasn't
like,
dark enough.
So then
Good
Rachel,
thing you can sing. Yeah.
Rachel called me and she said, "Oh, I would really love you to work on this project." And I'm like, "Well, how much footage is there?" And it's like 130 hours of footage of concert film as well as verite, and then we also added, of course, lots of archive.
But she had just gotten off of what's that show's called?
Succession?
No, not Succession.
Oh.
With Ben Platt. I'm like, dear Eric Hansen.
Yeah.
Sorry, Heather. I'm like, what's that show? Eric Hansen. So
That little thing.
So she understands how to cut for music. She hears the music properly, and I think that's really important.
You get very personal in the movie. You literally take us into the room while they're looking at your follicles, and I'm wondering what made you decide to be so open, and do you regret it?
No, I don't regret it at all. I didn't know that was going to happen either. But when you're out there, you figure, well, just get everything that's going on your road to the Garden, and it was just crazy because if you capture, some women know out there, it's all about like what's going on in your body at the time. You could have a really good cycle, a good time where the eggs are doing what they're supposed to do, and the follicles and your ovaries, or and if there's bad times, but then if there's a good time, you want to catch it at that time. And so all of a sudden, they were saying, oh, this might be a good time. I was like, well, I got to be on stage. And so said, I'm going to do it, because I'm very competitive and I don't like to lose. And so we were doing it. And as you know, also, you're shooting yourself up and the hormones, and not shooting yourself up like this, but there's hormones, which is probably why I was crying sometimes and things like that, and just the emotional ride of knowing that I was getting older, and and that it was probably on the tail end of the time. And so you asked me why. Oh, because for better or for worse, gift or curse, I feel like I'm my best when I'm the most vulnerable. And I feel like as a performer, in order to really connect with your audience, the best is when you're raw and you're willing to leave something out there, So I didn't want to be exploitive about it. I thought,
That's brave. Anne and Rachel, my question for you two is, when you signed on to the project, maybe you had an idea of Idina, and I think when you get to know her, there's maybe a little less Disney princess and a little more Long Island, in a good way, in a great way.
I didn't realize
Jewish-American prince.
how funny you were. I mean, that was one of the most things I enjoyed.
Yeah, totally. I mean, funny, accessible, warm, human, relatable. I mean, just I did not. I mean, we knew the Disney. We thought, well, we had some sense of a pre-existing relationship with Disney, but yeah, she was a wonderful human to work with. Beyond
And relatable, of course. And we are all. There's so many women on this project. A lot of working mothers.
Yeah, and Jana.
I have to say, one of the most moving moments in the film, I thought, was the Pittsburgh sequence in the Tree of Life synagogue. And it occurred to me watching this that you were doing this tour in the 2018 midterm elections, crossing America. And so I wondered just what that experience was like. But also, I think, there's so much in here about motherhood. How do you talk to your own son about the world right now? How did you talk about the Tree of Life moment? Or how do you make sense of what's happening with him?
It's funny. It's just Trish is here, who directed the Tree of Life documentary that I wrote a song for recently, and it's all just coming full circle. It's coincidental. That's all happening at the same time. You should see it. She made a beautiful documentary about that. But what was your question? How do I talk
How do you
about
talk to your son about the world and explain it to him?
Well, having a child who's of mixed race is also quite a daunting task for me. And it definitely is sort of age-appropriate times of how I remember when he was younger. He's 13 now, so he's starting to ask questions, and he's very aware of the world around him. And I think he's sometimes, I don't want to talk too much about him when he's not here, but he's feeling angry about a lot of things. He's feeling unsettled. He's feeling disappointed. But when he was younger, he wasn't as much. When something would happen like that, like a shooting or something, you're never sure how much, when is the right time to discuss hate with your child. And you want to prepare them for things, but you also want to let them live in this idyllic, perfect, wonderful place. And there's enough time for them to see all the ugliness in the world. So that comes with age, I think, and then having friends that you just can bounce things off of. And
one of the things I loved as well is the access you give to your early years. And I just want to thank you, Anne, for the footage of Idina holding the limbo stick. It's already iconic.
I was hoping you're going to ask me what my favorite part was. And
I'm
that's my favorite
hoping
part.
you will tell us, not just your favorite part, but the footage that you got to use. And is there stuff that you loved that didn't make it into the film?
Oh, yeah. The first cut was 11 hours long. So there was a lot to cut out. There was a lot of making mistakes, and you remember when the mic stopped working?
Uh-huh.
There was that whole section. There was a lot that was really great, but we had to shape it down into a 90-minute so that it felt about right.
I do want to give a shout out though to Robbie Shafitz, who's here, who has also there's Rich Mercurio, who's our drummer. I don't know if he's still here in the audience. Okay. Robbie has followed me with a video camera at the time, right before we even used our iPhones. We did we were developing that thing you saw me as more cabaret, talking about my dream of playing at MSG. He actually filmed all that. He's filmed me in many situations through the years. And actually, Rich and Robbie and I were all on a trip to Provincetown once, and I was developing all this material. So we had so much stuff in Robbie's laptop. How he found it all, I don't know. And it was also, you were the one that found me doing the limbo stick at the thing. I think someone sent it to me at Wicked backstage, trying to hold me ransom or something, and say, I got this tape. What are you going
There's
to
some
do?
amazing wedding footage.
How miserable do I look, though, every time?
Was it strange to physically go back to where you grew up and to go back to those venues? What was that experience like?
Yeah, I mean, I want to apologize to my dad and my mom, who's in Colorado, who's going to come to this thing next week in LA, so that we traded. But they hate that I bring that up because it makes them feel like shitty parents. But it's just good shtick, Dad. And it's just the way it is. It was that one part though when I said, well, it all comes back to now that I can't trust anything in my life because of my parents. I'm sorry, beating it like a dead horse, but it is true. It did happen.
And also, the film's really honest about the challenge of balancing career and marriage and parenthood. And I feel like you do it on steroids a little bit. It's just an extreme version. But I just wondered, when you see it on screen, because you live it, but when you get to look at it, what does it feel more impossible or less impossible, or how do you navigate all of that, and how does it feel to see you navigate? I mean, that moment with the Halloween where you're like carving out this time.
Yeah. I guess having been promoting this recently, it's so hard. Moms, you just get through it. You make it happen. And it doesn't necessarily have to be you getting on a stage. You can just be doing whatever your stage is. But I do look at it and feel really proud because I hope that Walker, if he sees this or just his life experience, he sees a woman who can love him and be there for him, but also chooses her passion and her work, and that's powerful, and that he finds that inspiring and attractive for whoever he chooses to be with in his life. So that's kind of what I take away from. I say, all that guilt I feel, I'm hopefully, if it's a man or a woman he brings home one day, I'm going to like them because I'll approve of them for being with my child because they're really cool and they have good self-worth and belief in themselves.
And so was there stuff on the cutting room floor that you wish you could have included, or?
What was the one? The one.
I mean, there was a lot of hilarious swearing that we had to take out.
Oh, yeah, because it's Disney Plus, so we had to
sanitize.
We said, can we just bleep it? And they were like, no. So we took out that. Do I have the wine glass in the thing? We had to remove that, but then we fought that Taylor Swift has wine in her Disney Plus
The
documentary.
wine glass is there, yeah.
We researched.
Oh, and then the Beatles thing came out on Disney Plus, and I was like, come on. They were like, no, you're Elsa. You cannot be saying the F word and have the bottle of wine in your hand. So that was a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor for sure.
Amazing. I'd love to talk about that period in the movie you talk about after Rent, before Wicked, when it felt like things had really fallen away, because it is, you watch that and you see your career, it is a wild ride. And so when you think back to that moment, for people who might be in that space of how do you get up, how do you get out, what do you remember from that time, or what words of wisdom would you tell that version of yourself who's stuck or waiting?
Well, I wasn't actually, it was different than stuck. It was like, because I always just keep going. So what I would say is, well, first of all, you never know when it's going to happen. That's the thing. A lot of young people have success when early and they don't realize it, and then it can easily go away. In my case, at least, it's gone away, it's come back, it's gone away. So that's what makes me really say, let me embrace this, because it may never happen again. But what was I going to say? I had a thought about, what was the last thing that you said?
The advice you might have for somebody who's...
Oh, yeah. What was I going to... I had a good one. Shoot. The advice that I had... Oh, now I've left it.
We'll come back to it.
Okay. It'll
Perseverance.
pop up for me.
Your message of perseverance was...
But
Yeah, but it was
it's for
really
you
good.
two.
Okay.
What do you hope when people are watching this that they take away from it, or that it makes them think about or makes them feel?
You can be the most incredible singer, an amazing actress, have such talent, and you're still going to struggle. And I think that, that makes Idina incredibly relatable.
I remembered now.
Great.
I found that when I'm at my lowest, you know how we tend to like wrap ourselves up in the bed and we don't get up, or we just don't want to. I easily can go, I'm not doing this anymore, and I go away from it and I stop singing or stop auditioning or whatever. And I found that the times that it gets me out of it are when I have forced myself. So like there was a Joe's Pub gig that I did. I was going through some personal stuff, and I said, I'm just going to get back to songwriting and get myself on a stage and just start singing, because that energy, putting myself out there, started to make other things happen. And I found that is the thing. So to just keep doing what you love on any stage, being creative and putting that energy out there, then attracts things to you.
You also are such an original. I mean, and you talk about doing original work. That's so important to you. And so I think when you are not waiting for somebody, but you're making something new, that helps.
What are you doing between your plays when you're having a little...
Survivor, Bachelorette.
Bachelor in Paradise?
Of course. Housewives.
I want to add that actually a revelation for me, besides Idina's just general awesome character and pleasure to work with, was the original music. That I didn't know that she was such a talented songwriter. And actually, the songs that I most love in the film are the originals, and also the cover of "I Melt with You," which I just feel should be a massive single. But that was really just a great discovery for me, for her original work.
And to get the access to the backstage, like when you're calling your son and let me go do 2 songs with Josh, I'll be right back. We don't get access to that usually. So that was really...
Well, that's what's on the cutting floor, a lot more of Walker. He was going to end up upstaging me in the movie. It was going to be like, Walker, which way to the stage? And also to
Step over mommy.
to protect his, his privacy. I took it out.
So we're almost out of time. I have one last question, which you ask in the film. I'm just wondering, are you able to take it in? Did you take it in? Have you taken it in?
Just now, I think I squeezed Aaron's hand, so it's like numb right now. But it's really hard to watch, and it feels being very self-absorbed to make a movie about yourself. So that's sort of the weirdness for me, because you want to capture something, but then I did want to put it out and have you guys see it. It's always that dichotomy of, I think, what I do for a living in the first place is wanting the audience, but then being afraid what everyone's going to think. I'm totally taking it in. Thank you so much. You did such a beautiful job. Thank you. The way that you took us in and out of songs, and the way we could see the layers of what songs meant in my life in so many different ways, that it's not so linear. The way that you edit it is everything to me. And I was able to take it in. I actually thought I was kind of cute and funny sometimes. And I had a decent voice, so that's all I can say.
I think people are going to be very moved by this. I watched it yesterday on my couch, and I was crying. So, I think a lot of people are going to have that. It's a really...
You don't think I need to just do a little... make it...
A little more drama. No, it's good. It's a great achievement. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you.
And shout out to Mariana Benevello, who is also our editor.
And this movie will be streaming on Disney Plus starting December 9th from Disney branded television. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much.